Hollywood's smiling, but it's shaking. Because Katt Williams just did what nobody else in that shiny circus has the guts to do. He told the truth. The kind of truth that turns million-dollar smiles into panic attacks. The kind of truth that makes studio execs call emergency meetings before breakfast. They thought Katt was just another comedian with wild hair and wilder punchlines, until he started naming names, and every A-list halo started slipping. In one interview, Katt didn't just spill tea, he spilled jet fuel. He exposed the industry's chosen ones, the fake heroes built in boardrooms. The comedians handpicked to play puppet while calling it success. He said Kevin Hart didn't earn Hollywood. Hollywood assigned him. He said Steve Harvey traded authenticity for access. He said Tiffany Haddish got the push because she played the system instead of fighting it. One man, one mic. And suddenly every laugh in the room started sounding nervous. Twitter went nuclear. Fans called it the Katt Williams awakening. Reddit dubbed it the comedy rebellion. Everyone who ever suspected that fame wasn't about talent but obedience finally got their confirmation. Katt didn't just break silence, he broke the spell. Now the industry's pretending it's unbothered, but you can see the fear in every vague Instagram caption about staying positive. That's Hollywood code for we're terrified. Because when Katt Williams talks, careers start sweating, illusions start melting, and masks start cracking. And the worst part? He's not done yet. When Katt Williams speaks, Hollywood flinches. This man isn't just funny, he's dangerous. Because unlike most celebrities addicted to silence, Katt's addicted to truth. And not the filtered PR-approved kind, the raw, smoking kind that smells like scandal and burns through million-dollar reputations. It all started when Katt walked into an interview like he was walking into war. Calm voice, sharp suit, no entourage. He didn't need backup. He was the storm. They asked him a basic question. Why do you think the industry treats you differently? Katt smiled, leaned forward, and said, because I didn't bend. The interviewer chuckled. Bad move. Because in that second, Katt transformed from comedian to executioner. He started talking about how Hollywood doesn't create stars, it creates servants. He said, you don't get famous in this town for being talented. You get famous for being compliant. He pointed out how certain people get the red carpet overnight, while others grind for years with no recognition. Then he dropped the line that shook the room. They pick who shines and they dim the rest. The internet erupted. That quote alone turned into a movement. Katt didn't stop there. He named the machine. He said networks, executives, and even certain comedians act like gatekeepers, making sure only approved black entertainers make it to the top. They want black faces with white behavior, he said. They'll give you the bag as long as you give them your soul. The clip spread faster than gossip at an awards after-party, and then the bombshell. He mentioned Kevin Hart, calmly, casually. Kevin's a great guy, he said, but he's their guy. The internet froze. People replayed it 1,000 times, zooming in on his expression. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. That quiet tone said everything. He accused Hollywood of manufacturing certain comedians while burying others, not because of skill, but because of obedience. He talked about how success in entertainment isn't about merit. It's about compromise. They'll ask you to laugh at things that aren't funny, he said. They'll ask you to do things that aren't you. And if you say no, they say you're crazy. Suddenly, all those old Katt Williams meltdowns didn't look so random anymore. Fans started connecting dots. Every time he spoke up, the media painted him unstable. Every time he told the truth, a mugshot magically appeared online. Hollywood calls that coincidence. Katt calls it punishment. By the time he mentioned Steve Harvey, Twitter was in flames. Steve told me, "Play the game, brother. But see, I ain't a game piece." That one sentence ended friendships and started debates. People flooded timelines with memes of Steve shaking hands with executives, calling him Hollywood's HR representative. Katt wasn't just calling out individuals. He was calling out the system they served. Next came Tiffany Haddish. Katt said, "She ain't proven her stand-up, but they keep handing her everything." Fans gasped, critics attacked, and Hollywood went on damage control. Suddenly, Tiffany was on every late-night show explaining her journey. But the timing was suspicious, like someone flipped the PR switch to protect the brand. Katt's comments didn't ruin her. They exposed how quickly the system protects its chosen ones. Then came the part that turned the conversation from comedy gossip to social commentary. Katt started dissecting fame itself. "They give you fame so you don't notice they took your freedom," he said. "They give you applause so you don't notice you're owned." Every word landed like a punch. He wasn't preaching bitterness, he was preaching survival. Fans called it the sermon Hollywood didn't want streamed. Within hours, major outlets scrambled to spin the story. They released fact checks on his statements, recycled headlines like Katt Williams sparks feud and Katt attacks fellow comedians. But nobody bought it. The audience had evolved. This wasn't 2010 anymore. You can't gaslight the internet. Viewers saw through the headlines. This wasn't a feud. It was exposure. Podcasters started calling him the Dave Chappelle of chaos. YouTubers broke down every sentence like detectives analyzing a crime scene. Reddit threads mapped timelines linking every time Katt spoke up with every sudden controversy he faced afterward. It was eerie how neatly it all lined up. Even rival comedians started to sweat. A few tried to defend Hollywood, saying Katt was too negative, but that only made him look more right. Because who defends the castle unless they live inside it? Meanwhile, Katt didn't backtrack, didn't apologize, didn't flinch. He just went on stage the next night and told the crowd, "If the truth offends you, it probably includes you." That line alone became a quote of the year contender. The audience screamed, stood up, and filmed every second. The clip hit every platform by morning. Katt was right trended worldwide. Hollywood didn't know what to do. Silence makes them look guilty. Responding makes him trend harder. So they did the one thing they always do, send distractions. Suddenly, celebrity scandals popped up like mushrooms. A new breakup, a random feud, a shocking arrest. It felt strategic. Fans noticed the pattern. One tweet nailed it. Every time Katt exposes them, a Kardashian does something weird. But no distraction could smother this fire. Katt's voice had already escaped the algorithm. This wasn't just about Hollywood, it was about power. Every viewer saw themselves in his fight. Every artist ignored, every worker underpaid, every truth silenced. He became the underdog everyone secretly roots for. And the beauty of it all? He didn't need a Netflix special, a tour announcement, or a movie deal. He just needed his mic and his honesty. That's the nightmare Hollywood fears most. A man who doesn't need their machine to stay relevant. By the end of the week, you could feel it. The industry was rattled. Executives whispered. Publicists panicked. Celebrities posted carefully worded support each other messages. But the energy had shifted. The audience had seen the wizard behind the curtain, and Katt had handed them the flashlight. Katt Williams didn't start a fight. He started a revelation. By the next morning, Hollywood was on life support. The interviews were still trending, the hashtags weren't slowing down, and every studio intern in LA had been told to monitor the situation. Translation? Find a way to stop Katt Williams without making him look like the hero, because that's exactly what he'd become. The smear campaigns rolled out like clockwork. Tabloids dusted off every headline they'd ever used against him. Katt Williams arrested again. Katt's career in chaos. Katt loses control. It was the same tired playbook. Distract the public. Discredit the source and hope people forget what he actually said. But this time it backfired. Every recycled headline just reminded fans how many times the media had tried to bury him. Podcasters started saying what everyone was thinking. If they gotta discredit him this hard, maybe he's telling the truth. That one line spread faster than wildfire. People started comparing Katt's treatment to Dave Chappelle's, to Monique's, to Prince's. Every celebrity who ever dared to speak against the system and suddenly became difficult. It was like watching the same horror movie with different actors. Then came the panic posts. Celebrities who had stayed silent suddenly started preaching peace. One A-lister posted, "We should be supporting each other, not tearing each other down." Fans weren't buying it. Translation, "He talking about you, huh?" One commenter wrote. The captions meant to diffuse tension only made people more suspicious. Hollywood's unity looked faker than a Botox smile. The funniest part? Every person Katt named suddenly had career updates. Kevin Hart dropped a trailer for a new movie. Tiffany Haddish announced a charity event. Steve Harvey posted a motivational video about staying humble. It was like they were all trying to drown the noise, but the internet wasn't letting it go. Memes flooded social media. One showed Steve Harvey holding a Hollywood Employee of the Month plaque. Another had Kevin Hart with the caption, "Smile through the secrets." And Katt? He wasn't hiding. He was thriving. Every show he did after the interview sold out in hours. Fans called it the Real Ones Tour. It wasn't even about comedy anymore. It was a movement. People were showing up just to hear him talk. When he walked on stage, the crowd treated him like Malcolm X with punchlines. But Hollywood doesn't go down quietly. Soon, rumors started spreading. Katt's dangerous. Katt's losing it. Katt's being investigated. The usual scare tactics. News anchors brought up past controversies like a broken record. But it was too late. The narrative had shifted. The people didn't see a problem. They saw a prophet. Even other comedians started to crack. Some defended him publicly, saying, "He's just being real," while others quietly unfollowed him to protect their brand. The divide in the comedy world was crystal clear. Those who spoke for truth and those who spoke for their contracts. Then, like clockwork, something bizarre happened. Multiple entertainment shows mysteriously cut Katt's name from reruns and clips. Late-night hosts avoided mentioning him completely. Fans noticed immediately. "They're trying to Thanos him," one tweet joked. "Snap him out of the industry." But censorship only made him stronger. His clips kept circulating on fan pages, bootleg accounts, and TikToks with millions of views. Every takedown led to 10 re-uploads. One fan said it best, "You can't cancel the uncancelable." And while Hollywood was melting down, Katt doubled down. In another interview, he said, "You can't silence someone who doesn't work for you." That line exploded. It was like watching a man slap the entire entertainment industry with a Bible of truth. Every influencer, rapper, and podcast host started quoting it. Even independent artists began calling him the blueprint for freedom. The tension was getting unbearable for Hollywood. Some insiders allegedly started reaching out to him privately, trying to smooth things over. But Katt wasn't interested in smoothing anything. He told the interviewer, "They don't want peace, they want control." Fans went crazy. One tweet said, "He's Neo and Hollywood is the Matrix." And he just found the code. Meanwhile, every podcast host with a microphone was dissecting the dark truths he'd mentioned. The silent blackballing, the fake friendships, the way Hollywood builds people up just to own them. One show even did a segment called The Comedy Plantation, comparing the industry to modern slavery with smiles. It was brutal and accurate. Then came the part that scared the elite the most, the unity. For the first time, the internet wasn't divided by celebrity drama. Everyone was on the same side. Rappers, influencers, average fans, all agreeing that Katt was the only one saying what they'd all felt for years. "He's the people's comic," one fan wrote. "He tells the jokes we laugh at and the truths we're scared to say." You could feel the shift in energy. The glossy image of Hollywood, the red carpets, the champagne, the fake friendships, suddenly looked rotten underneath the lights. People started side-eyeing everything. Who's real? Who's owned? Who's next? The illusion was cracking, and Katt was the hammer. But then came Hollywood's desperate counterattack. They started pushing distractions harder than ever. Suddenly, a random celebrity breakup went viral. Then a huge award show controversy. Then another celebrity scandal conveniently dropped on the same day Katt's next clip went trending. Fans saw right through it. "They really fighting the truth with gossip," one tweet said. And losing. Even mainstream news tried to spin it. They called him controversial, polarizing, and a threat to industry harmony. But all that meant was, he's working. The truth doesn't need PR. It just needs a platform. And Katt had the people. Soon other truth tellers started popping up too. Lesser-known comedians began speaking out about being silenced. Rappers talked about industry deals they regretted. Models opened up about weird parties and invitations they turned down. The floodgates were open, and the dam had broken. Hollywood had officially lost control of the narrative. By the end of the week, Katt wasn't trending because of outrage. He was trending because of admiration. He had become a symbol, a walking contradiction to everything Hollywood sells. He wasn't shiny. He wasn't safe. He wasn't filtered. He was raw, human, and unowned. And that's the thing that terrified them most. They can't control what they can't buy. In a world full of carefully managed brands, Katt Williams was authenticity on fire. By the time week 3 hit, the whole industry looked like it had been struck by lightning. Agents stopped answering questions. Producers stopped posting pictures. And every talk show host suddenly took time off. Coincidence? Please, it was the Hollywood version of duck and cover. Katt Williams had said the quiet part out loud, and the empire built on silence didn't know how to function anymore. What started as one interview had become a digital revolution. Everyone from fans to fellow entertainers began rewatching old clips of stars, acting weird on red carpets, suddenly looking like victims of the very system Katt described. TikTok turned into a crime scene. People were analyzing every celebrity smile like it was evidence. She looks tired. He looks scared. That handshake looked forced. The paranoia wasn't paranoia anymore. It was perspective. Meanwhile, Katt stayed calm. He didn't rant. He didn't tweet every hour. He just performed, night after night, standing in front of crowds who treated him like a truth prophet. He didn't need Hollywood's permission to speak. The people had already given him the mic. His comedy turned into a movement. His punchlines hit harder than protests. Every joke was a headline in disguise. The same studios that once laughed at him were now scrambling to copy his formula. Suddenly, every comedian was getting deep. Every influencer was exposing something. Every artist wanted to look woke. But the audience wasn't fooled. They knew the difference between a rebel and a rebrand. Katt wasn't doing it for likes. He was doing it because it was survival. Then came the documentaries. Independent filmmakers began connecting dots using his words. They pieced together missing careers, quiet disappearances, the patterns behind mental health breaks that always seemed to follow honesty. One documentary called The Price of Silence went viral overnight. It featured old clips of Katt saying, "You can't tell the truth in Hollywood and keep your job," layered over eerie piano music and slow-motion award shows. It gave people chills, not because it was shocking, but because it felt real. The media tried one last pivot, turning him into a folk hero while quietly downplaying his message. The same outlets that once mocked him started calling him controversial yet compelling, complex but brilliant, Hollywood's unpredictable genius. Fans saw right through it. "They're trying to praise him so they can own him again," one tweet said. "We're not falling for it this time." But the real panic was happening behind closed doors. Executives started holding ethics meetings. Comedians whispered about changing contracts. Actors posted cryptic "thank you Katt" stories without tagging him. For the first time, the system was scared of the talent instead of the other way around. And as for the people Katt called out, their responses got quieter with every passing day. Kevin Hart stopped doing interviews altogether for a month. Steve Harvey switched topics mid-broadcast when Katt's name came up. Tiffany Haddish tried to play it cool, but fans filled her comments with quotes from Katt's interview. You can't fight the truth when the audience already believes it. That's when the real shift began. The fans stopped laughing at Katt and started listening to him. His old rants suddenly became warnings. His crazy moments became case studies. Every meltdown the media once used against him turned into proof that he'd been fighting demons nobody else was brave enough to name. He wasn't crazy. He was cornered. The same tabloids that painted him unstable now looked unstable themselves. Their smear tactics aged like milk, and Katt? He just kept living, laughing, and winning. The public had finally caught up to his wavelength. And once you understand the truth, you can't unhear it. Then came the ripple effect. Up-and-coming comics started publicly rejecting studio deals. Rappers began demanding ownership of their masters. Models and influencers started sharing stories of creepy contracts they turned down. It was a domino effect. Katt's words had given an entire generation permission to say no. Hollywood hated that word. But what could they do? Cancel him? Impossible. He was already uncancelable. He didn't depend on their system. His audience wasn't controlled by algorithms. It was built from authenticity. And that's something no PR firm can replicate. One journalist wrote, "Katt Williams is the canary in the coal mine of fame. And the industry's been ignoring his screams for years." That article got deleted within 24 hours. But not before screenshots spread everywhere. The cover-up had become part of the story. Every attempt to silence him only made his message louder. Even talk show hosts started slipping hints during interviews. This business isn't what it seems. Fame comes with a cost. They were trying to sound brave without actually being brave. But the people knew who lit the match. The truth was out, and it had Katt's fingerprints all over it. The irony? Katt never needed to win an Oscar, a Grammy, or a comedy special deal to make history. He'd already done the impossible. He made the truth trend. By now, the word Hollywood itself had changed meaning. It no longer meant glamour and success. It meant compromise, control, and illusion. Every red carpet looked more like a costume party. Every award speech sounded rehearsed by lawyers. The curtain had fallen, and behind it was nothing but paperwork and pain. And at the center of that revelation stood one man with a microphone, still laughing, still free, still dangerous. Katt Williams had become more than a comedian. He was a one-man revolution disguised as entertainment. He didn't just expose Hollywood's dark truth, he rewired how the world sees fame. The final blow came when one interviewer asked him, "Katt, what do you say to people who call you bitter?" He smiled and replied, "I ain't bitter, I'm better." And that's what scares them. The crowd exploded. That moment went viral again, looping across every timeline like a warning. He didn't need to scream anymore. The message had already planted itself in everyone's minds. Fame is a facade, power is a trap, and truth is the only currency that never depreciates. Hollywood might still have the lights, but Katt Williams owns the switch. So after all that madness, the secrets, the panic, the fake smiles cracking under bright lights, what did we just witness? The moment Hollywood's biggest illusion got shattered by a man with nothing but a microphone and a backbone. Katt Williams didn't just speak, he detonated. He dropped more truth in one interview than the entire industry has told in a decade. They tried to call him crazy, but now they're copying his courage. They tried to bury him, but he became the headline. Every elite gatekeeper just learned the hardest truth of all. When the people start listening, their power starts shrinking. And let's be real, Katt didn't start a feud. He started a revolution in a suit and sunglasses. Every studio exec who once laughed at him is now refreshing Twitter like it's a bomb countdown. Every PR agent is typing emails with shaking hands, praying he doesn't mention their client next. But the message is bigger than any name he dropped. It's about freedom. Freedom to speak, to question, to exist without a leash. Katt Williams isn't running from Hollywood anymore. Hollywood's running from him. Now it's your turn. Drop your wildest theory in the comments. Who do you think he was really talking about? Who's next to get exposed? And how long before another star mysteriously disappears after telling the truth? Smash that like button like it owes you money. Subscribe before the next scandal explodes. And ring that bell so you never miss the chaos when it breaks. This is Gossip Flow, where truth burns, fame trembles, and the stories they hide become the ones we tell. Stay loud. Stay curious and stay dangerous.